Can being too sarcastic cause a rift in your relationship? Hi there, men's dating coach Harry Wilmington here, founder of introvertdatingsuccess.com. And today you're going to learn what kind of sarcasm to stay away from so that you don't accidentally hit the wrong nerve with your woman, or worse, have her remind you about it all the time. This segment was recorded as part of a live video show I now do every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3 p.m. West Coast time over at protestparty.tv. So make sure to check us out live and join in on the chat. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon to be notified of new videos. Also, check out the website to download my free ebook, Texting Like a Boss, which gives you helpful tips on attracting women with your phone the right way. And now, let's check out that clip. So there's a message here that I saw on Reddit, and I thought it was interesting. The title is called, "Boyfriend Made Fun of My Flat Chest and I Can't Shake What He Said." And I saw this, and it's very much a lightweight message because they're very early in the relationship. They've only been dating for a year, but I think it's important to point these kinds of things out very early on in the relationship, because I think that honestly, people have been taught some really bad communication habits. And I think a lot of times when we're growing up within our own families, we hear sarcasm and we hear jokes, and a lot of it's aimed towards us. And as kids, we don't really have a means to fight back against that. Like, we can at some point be like, hey, this isn't cool. But honestly, it's really hard to go to your dad, your mom, your cousins, your aunts and uncles and say this speech when they're just saying like, it's a joke. Don't be such a punk. Take it. So we end up thinking, oh, this is the perfectly fine way to communicate, by sarcasm, by making these overt jokes to the person, talking about their whatevers. And in the process of that, we can be very unaware that some of the things we're saying and doing on a joking level is being taken by the other person as hurtful. And the thing is, when it first starts, it might not seem like it's a big deal. Like, you might say something to the person, they might appear to take it jokingly and taking it in stride, but you never are sure of what things you're saying to a person that's going to be stuck in their mental memory, And I know there were times when I was in my middle school and high school years, for example, where I got called a whole lot of names that stuck in my psyche for a lot of years, and I can still hear echoes of to this day. But in terms of, me hearing it long after they were gone, like I was getting called weird and strange and dumb and stupid in middle school and high school, well, mostly middle school. But then, like, when I go into college and I'm trying to start dating girls, what is in my head? Well, they want to date me because I'm weird, I'm stupid, I'm dumb. And it's like, they've been gone for so many years, So you never know what that thing is that you're just joking about that's going to stick with the woman and then make her feel like you don't like her in a certain way, or she starts questioning herself and how she really is in the world. And you're just not aware of that. So I'm going to read this message that this woman wrote because I think it really illustrates what I'm talking about. So she says, to start off with, we've been together for a year and we have a pretty joke-full relationship, always messing with each other. Last night, my boyfriend was playing video games, and we were talking about what superhero we would be for a brief moment. He told me I would be someone called Jean Grey, and I had no idea who that was. So for those of you that don't know, Jean Grey was in the X-Men. Okay. Let's see. So I laughed and said, is she someone, is she hot? And he said, I mean, she's a character, and you know how over-sexualized they make comic characters. And I said, yeah, they all got big boobs and a small waist. He said, very enthusiastically, yeah, they do, and you don't have big boobs. And the way he said it made it clear he wasn't joking. Now, I know I have small boobs. I'm aware of this. I'm a 32A. I'm naturally a smaller woman, but he always told me he was a butt guy, and I have plenty of that. I'm not really self-conscious about it because I've never had anyone have a problem with it or say anything negative about it. And honestly, I think I have a cute body. He then says, but that's okay. We can just have sex with the lights off and I can pretend you have big boobs. Okay, ouch. He could tell it hurt my feelings, apologized, and told me he was joking. I said, yeah, whatever, I'm going to go to bed. He kissed me goodnight and told me he loved me. I don't know if I'm overreacting, but now I have this urge to get a boob job and I haven't hated my chest this much in a while. What do I do? So here's something where, again, she mentioned they have a very jokey relationship. So they're typically probably sending jabs back and forth to each other. And that is a type of relationship that a lot of people have. Is it the best relationship to have? I'm going to say that that's ultimately up to you. If you're a person that has a thick skin and that's how you grew up taking jabs back and forth, and the other person is too, and you can take it, then more props to you. I know in my family, we were very sarcastically jokey also, but it was never really in an insulting way. It was more like in an intellectual way where it's like, certain words, like the way you say certain words or bring about certain phrases, or even how I joke now is very much like somebody will say something and I'll like relate it to like a song, or I'll take the words and reframe them in another way where it's really more about the wordplay of what they said and it's not specifically geared towards them. Like it's not calling them dumb or stupid or saying you have these flaws that you need to get rid of or whatever, in that way. And I think because I went through that personally where I had those kind of jabs at me, I just learned very early on that that doesn't make me feel good. Therefore, I can imagine giving those kind of jabs to somebody else could also hurt. And especially because you don't know what that person's journey has been through life to where the thing you're joking about could be a really big deal for them. Like for this girl example, she's saying she didn't really have any kind of subconscious about being big up here, but clearly when he said this thing, it hit a nerve with her. So she could have been a girl where like growing up, she constantly got joked on or told that, you're not going to have a good enough figure, or maybe she got teased for, looking like a tomboy. You don't know what her journey is, but to bring up this thing where it's like, oh, and you have small boobs and blah, blah, blah. Like he says it jokingly, but she could be taking that a lot more intensely than he even realizes. And that's the thing with sarcasm. I heard someone one time I said sarcasm is like the cousin of like bitterness. And it's because a lot of times when people are being sarcastic, it's because they don't really know the way to either phrase the request that they have in terms of things that they want changed, or they're saying a thing like subconsciously in a way to like make themselves be more above the other person. So in this case, he said a thing about the boobs. He might not have been saying it maliciously, consciously, but maybe he was thinking like, oh, like I need to give a little jab at her so I feel better about myself. Like you have no idea, But that's why I tend to be very careful with my words. I tend to believe that you should be speaking life into the person you're with and uplifting them and saying things that are positive about them versus being negative, because this is a thing that, again, it could stick in her head for a week. It could stick in her head for the next 5 or 10 years. She could be 10 years down the line, still with this guy, talking about something random, and he says something, and she'll be like, oh, like that time you mentioned my boobs are too small? Like, you never know that thing's gonna stick. So she had a little update here. She said, just a little update. We went to the gas station this morning, and when we got home, he was staring at my legs and butt. I was like, are you staring at my butt? And he said, heck yeah, I am. Those legs too. Honestly, I feel much better now, but still planning on saying something to him though. It was just a nice reminder that he does find me attractive and just doesn't think before he speaks. It's not an excuse, but I'm thinking that's genuinely what it is. So this is still clearly bugging her. Like she's being able to be joking now, and women are great for that. Women are very fluid with their emotions. So the good thing is you can say something hurtful to them, and then like a couple of days later, they'll be joking with you and laughing again. And it'll seem like they'll do it to where you'll think that like they're completely over what you said and that they're over it. Nothing's wrong now. Okay. But just because she's in a moment right now where she's having a good time with you doesn't mean the emotion can't come back up about that thing that you said that really kind of hurt her feelings. And it could be like you're just joking and then you're whatever. Next thing you know, she starts thinking about things and she's staring off to the distance and it's like, oh, the boob comment comes back in her head. And now she's like thinking about that again. Hey, babe, so, I just wanted to, clear the air again about this boob thing. And I can guarantee you that's going to be a conversation that if he stays with her is going to come up at least 3 or 4 times a year for the rest of his life. They could be in bed together and he could be like, oh, babe, I just find you so hot and attractive and I just want to just take you right now. And she'd be like, oh, you find me attractive except for my boobs, right? It'll be a side comment, but it's going to come up because you brought it up, because you had to mention that thing, okay? So I typically err on the side of, especially with body things, women's bodies are already being they're already judging their bodies based on how the media looks at their bodies and how they feel about themselves. So they're already in their own heads giving regular comments about their bodies. But when you say something, it's going to almost like give confirmation. And it could be a thing where you're not trying to confirm anything at all. This guy could very much like her despite having small boobs, but that comment's going to be in her head, but he's judging me about my small boobs. So I typically try to steer clear from like making comments about women's bodies. They come to me and say, hey, do you think I'm too big? Do you think I'm too small? This and that. I just say, hey, babe, you know what? I like you the way you are. You're great with me. And that's really all they want to hear. They just want to hear that they look nice and that you, in your eyes, they are like the best thing ever. But these little side comments about, oh, you got this weird looking arm. Oh, except for your little freckle right there. Oh, you got that little thing on your finger. Like, if it's not helping the relationship, why make a comment about it? So if you have a negative comment to say about a body, is that going to make her feel good and help the relationship? Or is it going to make her feel bad and probably add a little chunk in your armor? I tend to try to stay away from those kind of things because I don't like the idea of saying something unintentionally that could hurt their feelings. So I just kind of know these are general areas that women typically find offensive about themselves, and I don't want the thing that I say to be the thing that sticks in their head and makes them feel bad years after we're still together or we're not. Like, that's just not the responsibility I want to take on. Now that you've heard from me, I'd like to hear from you. Do you think it's possible to be too sarcastic in a relationship? If you're watching on YouTube, leave your comments below or write me at HarryWilmington@gmail.com. Are you ready to learn how to attract women via texting? Go to introvertdatingsuccess.com right now to download my free ebook, Texting Like a Boss, which will give you the secret do's and don'ts of attracting women with your messages the smart way. If you like this video, hit that like button, make sure to subscribe, and click the little bell icon to be notified about future videos. Also, catch the live version of this show on protestparty.tv every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3 p.m. West Coast time to join in on the chat. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.